How's it going, guys? So continuing to field questions for USMLE. I have a student asking a fairly vague question about how to go about his or her day during dedicated, okay, as far as should he or she be reviewing the NVMEs, doing UWorld, my PDFs, like how should a general day be structured? So I will give you some input here. So before we get started, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Give the video a like, really appreciate it. Find me on Instagram at Mehlman_medical, MEHLMAN_medical. The link is down below. Find me on Telegram. Recently created a Telegram group and channel. Links are down below. Now let's start the clip. So how should you go about your day during dedicated? Now, of course, dedicated, are we talking about 2 weeks out, 4 weeks out, 6 weeks out, etc.? Generally, the final 2 to 4 weeks, let's say. The focus needs to be on the NVME exams. I've made tons of prior clips on this. That's not novel information. But you need to know that the bulk of your time, the pillar of your day, is you're going to be waking up and making sure you know NVMEs 20 through 30 for step one, and then for 2CK 6 through 11, as well as all of the clinical mastery series questions. Now, for some of you, there's going to be variation as far as, maybe you've done a lot of that content before during rotations, or you're scoring higher and it's easier for you to whip through those questions. But regardless, the general inculcation needs to be that you're going to do those NVME questions and have that be the core of your day. And if you're feeling a degree of redundancy going through those questions, you say, okay, know this, know this, know this, like, it's too easy at this point. Well, that's good, because the questions are exactly the same as the real deal. And that's how we want you to feel when you go into the exam, because when you're actually in the real deal, you're going to be like, OMG, I already know these questions. They look very familiar. Well, no shit. Okay, that's the whole idea. So the core pillar of your day, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, etc., is you're going to be focusing on the NVME questions. Now, there is going to be a saturation threshold in which you're going to ADHD the fuck out, because you say, I can't look at questions anymore right now. I've tried to do that for 6-8 hours, going through incorrects from the NVMEs in the PDF or as Anki format. I also want you going through my PDFs. Now, if you're studying for step one, the absolute most important PDF for you is high yield arrows. You should be doing that twice, okay, before you go into the step. Put it this way. Any fucking student who has an issue passing the step one, I could ask him or her just basic arrows from my PDF, and he or she has problems, okay? Now, I just want to clear up one notion that students will have as far as, well, how many arrow questions am I actually going to get on my step? Okay, like, I had a friend come out of the exam. She got 2 arrow questions. That's it. Are arrow questions really, that important? And I have to clear up that it's not about you specifically getting arrow questions where the answer choices are literally arrows. It's about you getting a vignette where they give you lab values, let's say, where potassium is up, sodium's down, bicarb is down, pH is down, and you need to know what that means in terms of aldosterone, okay? So that's how arrows factor in. So you need to know that prior to your step. So the NVMEs is a core pillar. You're going to know high yield arrows. Go through my other PDFs by all means. Immuno, biochem, neuroanatomy tend to be the favorite among students, although they're not necessarily pass level. I mean, you can get a lot of those questions wrong. Like, you will not pass step one if you're getting questions wrong on basic hormones or hereditary disorders. Like, you can't miss PTH questions. You can't miss SIDH versus DI, okay? You can't miss cystic fibrosis versus Duchenne versus NF1, NF2, VHL, TSC. You can't miss those types of questions, but you can get a question wrong on medial versus lateral medullary syndrome or some weird glycolytic enzymes, right? So, I mean, not my fucking opinion. That's step one, how to go to pass fail. I mean, that stuff used to matter a lot more when it was numerical, okay? And I created PDFs by subject. That's reasonable. You want to study cardio, you want to study pulm, etc. Well, the PDFs are there. But now that the step one has gone to pass fail, and we talk about priorities, not wasting your fucking time, just how can you augment your score as much as possible in the shortest amount of time? It's making sure you know high yield arrows, that PDF in particular, in addition to the NVME exams. So you're going to wake up during dedicated. You're going to focus most of your time on memorizing the NVME content, 20 through 30, and you're going to make sure you know high yield arrows. You're going to do that PDF twice, and you can go through my other PDFs, absolutely. And you're going to have custom remediation. You say, well, I sucked jack fucking shit at biostats. I need to review that. I've got a PDF on that also. Or I'm like really terrible at all of the cardio, okay, and you could review that from that PDF. So that's sort of how dedicated is going to work. There will be some custom remediation, but what I can tell you, and as I've articulated in prior clips, is UWorld does not play a deep role in your final couple of weeks. Okay, I made the prior clip on that on the YouTube about the role of UWSAs and UWorld late, how it's not a priority. Okay, you need to focus on the NVME exams. Those of you who follow my content are going to hear me say the same fucking things over and over again. But believe it or not, I get the same dumb questions 9 times a day through DM, where I'll post a clip like this, and then tomorrow someone will say, hey, can you make a clip on like, okay, it's like, that's what I go through. But it's not entitlement. I mean, to you guys seeing all my stuff constantly. So that's generally how your dedicated should work. All right. NVME focus, make sure you know my PDFs. You know the deal. I'm going to continue to make more content. If you like my stuff, subscribe my channel. And I appreciate your time. That's it.